Across the sun now. Across the sun now.
The church is 80% of our economy in Kenya. So I can advise them to do agricultural courses.
They take the agricultural courses.
Yeah, they take the agricultural courses.
Iko pesa.
Oh,
umeona pesa. Lakini unajua wewe ni mwana biashara bana.
Yeah.
Make a date with me every Monday to Friday, 7:15 to 9:15 in the morning here at the Farmers Media, the breakfast show. Let us start the day right here. This is Noanasia. Welcome to a Farmers Breakfast Show. Today is a beautiful day, a very interesting day that we're going to discuss some very interesting pointers from here this morning. A very interesting day for one main reason, because we are going to discuss something that you need as a farmer and why it is important and where to get this thing and how to get it, whether to pay for it or not. We'll discuss it, but we'll also importantly discuss why this particular discussion today is vital for you as a farmer preparing to plant. We know that we are just about to have the rains, the short rains coming in October. What do you need to do now, 2 months before the rains come? But I'm joined today by my co-host, my guest. Remember, I'm not a guest level. Yes, she'll introduce herself.
I'm Stephanie Sharon Okayo. I'm the digital farmer support for eFarmers, and we've visited a couple of farms in the recent past, and that's the information we are bringing to you this morning. I hope you enjoyed this show. We have a lot to give you. You've learned a lot during our farm visits, and that knowledge is what our smallholder farmers need to know so that they can improve their livelihoods. They can also know what to plant, when to plant it, and how to plant it.
Fantastic. Yeah. So if you're joining us, let us know where you are joining us from. Remember that this is a Farmers Media where we help you connect and grow. And here at the Breakfast Show, we actually want to make sure that you get the best before you make that final decision that you want to start growing any crop. We want to make sure that if you're a corporate organization that you're having as product or a service that you're giving out to farmers, then you are the right place to be able to connect with these farmers, getting to understand what they are doing, what they need, and even how you can package the products. So Stephanie, first of all, karibu sana. Welcome to the Breakfast Show.
Thank you. I've never been here actually.
You've never been to the Breakfast Show?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey.
It's a privilege.
Yes. Number is 07. Thank you for coming in. And what I wanted to first ask you is, we've done a few visits to farmers.
Yes.
What have you learned?
The main thing I've learned is just start. Okay. If you want to plant, just start. No matter what you have, however small it is, however the knowledge you have about it is, you can connect with extension officers. You can learn from the people who have been in front of you, who are doing well. Yeah, but just start.
In front of you.
I know.
Ahead of you.
Yes, ahead.
So now, we visited one farmer twice. That is the dairy farmer.
Yes.
And then we also visited Uncle yesterday. What is the difference between what you saw between the two? What did you see first? Tell our viewers. And I don't know if our producer has some of the videos that we can share, and some pictures of Stephanie
playing with my cows.
Yes. So what did you see in these two farms?
Okay, I'll start with Uncle's farm. Uncle, by the way, is Fred Obachi, the famous, Roga presenter. Yeah. His farm, from his story, from what I saw, it's both of them are passionate about what they are doing. But for Fred Obachi, it started, how can I put it? It started as can I get the right term for it? Okay. Yeah, Fred Obachi ilianza kama a trial or something. Yes. Yeah. Like he didn't know that he will be here right now. And for Kisaju, the Kisaju farm, alikuwa amevision.
Yes.
Alikuwa amevision mali anataka kukua. Alikuwa ameset a plan for it. Yeah.
Lakini, if you look at the age is almost there. Both of them are almost the same age. Why do you think then? Because the uncle yesterday said that farming should not be a retirement plan.
Yes.
But they're not young. Why do you think they took it up? And what is the success rate of both farmers?
Hey, that's interesting.
Why do you think they took farming up?
Because
they're not jobless.
Yeah.
Normally, I'll say, if you want, agriculture is a source of unemployment. As in, why do you think they did it at their age?
First of all, it's passion. Because passion drives you, drives the motivation to do it. And what else did you ask? At that age,
why are they doing it very well?
I think they've got the knowledge. They've took their time to learn. Because I remember Fred Obachi said, you have to have that plan. So when you want to reach there, you have to focus on where you want to reach.
Very important.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most important things for farmers. It's very important for them to focus and know where do they want to go. You might not have the end destination in mind, but you know that you want to succeed in specific things. Yeah. So that is what we're discussing in today. As those who are watching us, those who joined us, we are discussing 10 reasons why it is important to get extension services for you as a smallholder farmer. Talking to the right experts. If you talk to someone who is selling to you chemicals and fertilizers and all that, their goal and their KPI is to sell. But when you talk to other people who are actually getting to assist you, getting to understand your needs and all that, then you succeed. But before we get into that deep inside the discussion, we want to get some traffic updates. So these are traffic updates courtesy of MA3 route. And looking at the roads, we see interesting that today I think there's no traffic. Somebody says they've taken 6 minutes from Roysambu to Muthaiga, and then Muthaiga is normally a parking lot. Then something else, there's any incident? Yes, it could have been worse. So the traffic along Mombasa Road, there was a traffic along Mombasa Road around Mtito that is quite far. Interesting opportunity, any traffic. So there's nothing major to report about in your traffic today, but if you hear of any incidences or accidents, please kindly share with us. We jump in quickly and get into to understand the topic of the day. And one of the things that we want to discuss is the role of extension services. Why is it important? Because some of these farmers that we visited, we saw there was a gap somewhere.
Yeah.
There was a gap that they had. And those are some of the things that we want to discuss this morning right here from a farmer's media. And some of the things that we will start off with is basically the importance of extension services. Things like knowledge transfer, things like skills enhancement, the importance of adoption of new innovations. Remember, when you talk about new innovation, what you're looking at is not something that you're not doing. It's something that you're already doing, but this thing that you're already doing, how can you then maximize the use of this thing? You remember like the pastor is called Pastor Mbudi, who said that his borehole can yield 31,000 liters per hour. But now, because of limited resources, he can only do 10. Yeah. So you can imagine a whole 21,000 liters that is there. So you can imagine what that impact looks like. So those who are watching us, let us know where you're watching us from. Follow our social media handles, and we'll discuss this in much more detail about this this discussion. So again, Farmers here is here to help you connect, learn, and grow with the experts in the industry, with fellow farmers who are experienced like the ones we'll be sharing and highlighting today. And we'll take both farms and we take some good time to be able to discuss what we saw there. And I know that you will be able to learn much more about this. And we'll also be taking time to get to interview this farmer. So, Stephanie, let's start with Pastor Mbudi. From the first day you saw, what did you learn? What are these things that they are doing right first?
I'll start with the cow sheds.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, yesterday I learned a very interesting thing. You can put, what is it called, mattress for your cows to sleep on.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's a very interesting thing because of... Why do you think they use it?
I think it's because of the dampness of below.
Yeah.
And I will just kindly ask, how does it affect the cows?
So that's a very interesting thing. Remember that the cows, the lower part of the cow is very sensitive. Number one, that is where the area that is milked is there. That is the softest part of the cow. So remember, cows when they're under production, they want the least level of stress. So that is what they normally put it, so that it reduces the stress levels. And also apart from that, the concrete does not harm doesn't harm the areas. It's called the udder.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So
because they're dairy cows.
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
Yes. For the other cows, they're used to sleeping even in the field.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was a very interesting observation. What else did you pick from that?
From feeding of the cows, they plant their fodder there.
Yes.
They don't source anything apart from the dairy meal for the cows. So that's a great achievement for them. And the fact that they are introducing value addition.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Because the milk that they produce is a lot. Now they want to transform it into yogurt.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are the few pointers that I took.
So let's go into detail about the feed profile. Feed. What feed is the most expensive bit in livestock, right? If we were to dwell a bit deeper on that aspect, what works for them well?
The silage, and the fact that they just make it there.
Yes.
Yeah.
They grow it.
Yeah.
They can make it. They transform it there.
Yes.
They package it there. They store it there. If you look at that in reference in back into like knowledge sharing, where do you think this farmer started? How, from experience, from what he said, why did he start doing dairy cows?
For the profit.
As compared to what?
As compared to the normal
French beans, the beans that he was doing.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, you rephrase that sentence.
So I was asking, like, why, from the way he explained, why do you think he ventured into livestock, into dairy farming, as compared to what he was doing before? I think it was a very interesting explanation that he gave us about the French beans. He said that every month he realized that he was still giving back money to the exporter, and he was getting very little out of it. And then he explains. Now, there's something that came out very clearly from that discussion with this farmer. One is the record keeping.
Yeah.
What did you see? What did you get from what he was explaining about his numbers?
Okay. First of all, the numbers, you need to have your numbers right so that you foresee what's supposed to be done, when to artificially inseminate your cows. Yeah, and venturing into dairy cows, he was passionate about it first of all, and he took it upon himself to learn. Yeah, because on French beans, like you said, alikuwa amesema how it happened. Yeah, venye it happened. Yes. And now he thought, what can give him more profit? Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. And then I think one of the things that really caught my attention is the fact that he was not then even reading a book.
Yeah.
He was not referring to a book. He had his numbers right. He knew what was working. I like the way he expressed himself and said, if you're not doing dairy farming, you're not farming. You're not making money. You cannot make money. But also the numbers that he put across, and when he shared his vision in the next 5 years, I think one of our friends asked him that, what did you think about the way he shared his vision? 5 years from now, we're going to be a breeder, we're going to be selling cows. Why do you think, and not milk?
Because that's where he foresees himself. First of all, and the plan that he has put across, because of the records, they create that alignment for your vision, so that now he knows the numbers he's getting from the milk, and he knows what he can achieve from the cows. Yeah, so it's just the alignment of what you foresee to achieve.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this one. Do you think some of us limit ourselves?
I think most of us, what we do, we start to succeed. We all start to succeed, but we don't know that there's a process for succeeding, because both of the farmers, they have failed at a point, and severally. Yeah, they have failed at a point severally, but they didn't give up because they had created that target. I want to reach there. So I remember Fred Obachi said, when you are here and you want to get here, when you reach here, you are not here. You should appreciate the fact that you are here so that you focus on getting there.
So does that mean then when farmers say that there's no money in agriculture, why do you think farmers say there's no money in agriculture, by the way? And yet yesterday we saw clearly. But before answering that, going back to the question I asked in terms of where they want to go, something was very interesting. And when I was asking whether we limit ourselves, some farmers would have said, when they asked, where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years? Some would have said they want to be producing 500 liters of milk.
Yes.
So do you think that would have been a wrong answer?
No, it's not necessarily a wrong answer. I think it's just the focus that you put and the goals that you have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a very interesting thing, because when you talk about the goals that you have, there is a very interesting aspect of it, which I think we'll see if Adam will be joining us also. It is very interesting to ask ourselves something very, very critical. This farmer is doing dairy. He already understands that I want to go to a certain level. He knows his figures, because remember he was mentioning each cow is 200,000 shillings. So the cow is 200,000 shillings. He has 8 of them. And each of them, so that is already 1.something million shillings. Okay? But he's actually foreseeing it would be cheaper for him to rear a heifer until production.
Yeah.
And then once he starts producing, him selling it, he'll sell it at 200,000 shillings versus probably the number of liters this cow would have brought. So what I also picked from that visit was that this particular farmer understands his business model. Now, let me go back and ask you this question now. There was an aspect of him having his son understanding that. What did you think about it? And that's just a farm.
Yeah.
Instead of inheriting a farm, this guy is part of it. What did you pick out from there? And what is such an experience for other young people?
Okay, once you have the interest, first of all, for parents, our kids might learn maybe what they are not passionate about, but when they come home, they say, I want to be like that.
Yes.
And we should give them that opportunity to learn alongside us, because I think that's what the son did, because he's in IT. He's an IT graduate, but now he's into farming. And he's even now studying what did he say he's studying right now? About agriculture.
Yes.
Just something along agricultural line. So it's a good thing. Yeah, because when you want to leave a legacy, you can leave a legacy to your blood.
So now let me ask you, now that you mentioned that, why do you think parents go wrong?
Okay, it's not entirely on the parents. Yeah, because most of us youth, we think that farming is,
apart from just doing the farming, just the fact that this kid, he's gone, he's done his degree, he's finished, he's gone, he's staying in the farm with the dad. Is there something that the dad is doing or the mother is doing that this kid felt I'd be like to be close? Because some people, wakimaliza tu shule hivi, wapate kazi. In fact, they moved to the farthest part of that.
Yes.
So that's what I'm asking. What is this thing that these parents do you think they did to make this kid, their son, I'd like to be part of this?
They raised him well, first of all, and they put him on the loop of what is happening around them. Yes. Yeah, that's the main thing they did to foster the passion on the boy also. Yeah.
Do you think, now I'm asking this because I'm a son. Let me ask, do you think when you're a parent, you go back home and you're complaining about what you're doing, you're complaining about the office, you're complaining about your colleagues, you're complaining about if it's the farm, there's nothing that comes out of it. You're always complaining. Do you think your kids would love to be part of this?
They won't love to be part of employment first, because if you go home complaining about employment, and kids pick what they get from their parents. That is the main source of information apart from the general society. Yeah.
So that's a very interesting thing as we're discussing this, Stephanie. And I think one thing that really impressed me is the fact that this parent was willing to he kept on saying, telling the son to explain.
Yeah.
It's like not that he didn't want, but probably he's actually training. So I think one of the things is very critical. And when you talk about training, then that now brings out the importance of now getting the right skill sets, getting the right training, and also the fact that this is a parent who also lives there. He didn't live like in another place and then tell the son, you have to go and stay in the farm, you have to do this, get it right. So one of the things that we are discussing, as we're going to discuss today, is about knowledge sharing and stuff like that. But before we dive in deeper, probably it would be important for us to just look at the weather pattern and ask ourselves a few questions. Stefan.
Yes.
Why do you think weather is important for these farmers that we went to? I didn't see something very critical. I didn't see a weather station. I didn't hear them talking about the weather. Why do you think is it that the weather doesn't affect them?
They've decided to work against it. Yeah.
Yes.
Because as we know, Kajiado, the soil first.
Yes.
I'm focusing so much on Fred Obachi's farm.
Yes.
Yeah, because from what we saw there, plants are doing well, but there was a gap. Yeah, like Betty Kibara from the Rockefeller Foundation said, something needs to be done about the soil, but Fred Obachi is doing something great, and he even said that you can transform any field to what you want it to be as long as you have water. Yes.
So now, where do you think some of the gaps that you saw? What are some of the challenges that you saw that we're actually going to be discussing about today? What are some of the gaps that you saw in these two farmers? What were they lacking? Apart from now, probably improvement of soil and stuff. What is this thing that they are that actually not even lacking? What is this thing that the pastor Modi has? That's a trick question.
Yeah. Okay, we did stay at Fred's place until usiku. So one thing that act Neo mattress ya cows.
Yeah, oh yes. That was one.
And also for Fred Obachi, the cow shed, like the way it was partitioned differently. Yes. Although we know that he does the general cows, but Kisaju does the dairy cows only. It's a huge place, and the soil, the management, not the staff.
Yes.
The soil management.
Yes.
Yeah, the soil management. What else? I think those are the few pointers. Yes.
So if you go deeper and ask yourself, there are so many things that when we were highlighting, he was like, really, and it worked, things like that. So where do you think Fred needs to get this information from?
He needs to have a connection with extension officers. Exactly. That's first of all, and also just maybe the locals, the agronomists who know, who know what to be done on the lands. Yeah.
So now let's get into this discussion about knowledge transfer. Because one of the things that is very important is just that transfer of knowledge rather than product knowledge and service. Things like that. Why do you think farmers need that knowledge transfer? Which are some of the specific things that farmers need this from? To get this, what is this thing that Kisama in our farm outside here? We know how to grow tomatoes, we know how to grow cabbages, we know how to grow this. But why is it that farmers fail despite them knowing all that?
It's about the modern techniques of farming, because most farmers, or rather most people, think the traditional way. Yeah, so incorporating these modern techniques of farming, innovations, inventions, knowing the market. Innovation, yeah. And first of all, like before you plant, you have to know your soil. Yeah, the soil is the core. You have to know your soil, you have to know what nutrients there is. So you have to first do soil testing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting because And farmers don't have this information because you can imagine Fred with this the status of Fred being Fred, the status of his farm, the size, the investment that he has put in. If he had some right knowledge, I think he would be tripling whatever revenue is getting.
Yes.
You know, things like that. And we are really grateful for one of our friends who is called Madam Betty Kibara, who has actually said that she will support these farmers to the full for them to be able to get the best out of what they're doing. I'm seeing a comment here. We're being told actually that our mics are a bit low, so yeah, you're told to move to yes, thanks Samadi Murila. We actually, the very interesting activity that we'll be doing, I'll be mentioning that about a team that is supporting he comes from called ICOQ8. I think he'll be telling us more in the comment section, Amadi, about a project that we as a farmers would really love to be part of, supporting a children's home down in the coast. But just getting back to the discussion here that we are having here about Dr. Fred. He's called Doctor. He's not like a doctor, anyway.
He qualifies to be called a doctor.
So one of the things that is very critical that I have seen that is very important is extension services.
Yeah.
But then my question is, who should offer extension services, Stefan? I know you're in agribusiness, but who should offer extension services? Is it experienced farmers? Is it who should offer extension services?
There are extension officers. Yeah, there are offices. Yeah, for the extension officers, and also
where are these offices? Because at the end of the day, I think that's one of the critical things that farmers need. Where do you think? How far should an extension officer be from the farmer?
Okay, once you decide to start to venture into farming, those are the pointers you need to put down first. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's very important because many times we talk about, we don't have extension services. However, when you look at it very critically, you as a farmer, did you look for them? Because you're the one in need. Because I always say as farmers, sometimes we need this. We need to go out ourselves and get this information, understand how it's being taken from and all that. I remember a few years back when I started our farming, I felt so many times. Until one day I said, no, I'll go and look for extension officers. I went to Kilimo House, Ministry of Agriculture then. I was told, no, we can't help you here, you have to go to the county level. I reached the county level, so I knew my county level is Machakos. That time I was farming in Athi River. I reached Machakos, they told me they can't help me, I have to go to Athi River. I asked them, where is it in Athi River? They gave me direction, I came, I got lost. I looked for that place for 5 days. And when I got there, I got a lot of information. How to check my soil, how to understand and all that. So it is you as a farmer also taking responsibility to be able to understand some basics. Where are these people? It's like going for business coaching.
Yeah.
You can't say that I'm starting a business, let me sit here and wait for a business coach and a mentor to come. You have to go and look out for them, getting to understand how they can support you. There is always a challenge. Sometimes they say they didn't have fuel to come to visit. But you as a farmer, you can provide that and get more information about this.
And I think that the extension officers or just the local agriculturalists should foster this idea of technology, because the internet has everything that you need to know, even the contacts. If you want that physical visit with an extension officer, you can find them online.
Yes. But also, you can just connect with us.
Yes.
And you'll be able to connect with hundreds of different extension officers across the country and also beyond Kenya to some of our neighboring countries where we'll be able to get that. And these extension officers might not really be the county extension officer.
Yeah.
When it comes to support and training, you might just get a farmer who is experienced. For example, if you are in Botswana, go and check out Theo Waga, who has the experience she has is like a moving dictionary and a moving encyclopedia. It's more like an encyclopedia of a lot of information from kitchen gardens, setting up kitchen gardens, bucket gardens, and all that. So those are something that you have to go out yourself, get out there, get out of your farms, get out of your comfort zone, go and look for these extension officers. They are available, they exist. You need to. It's better for them to say that these farmers are disturbing, there are too many, rather than they're not coming. And if you are a group, we go and look for this extension officers. We can even organize training, probably even in some of our own farms, and they would come and I've tried that before, it has worked. So now we've talked about knowledge transfer. Now, what about things like adoption or innovation? You mentioned that. What are some of these innovations that you think farmers then will be able to get from extension officers?
But before we go to that, I'd like to advertise you. Mr. Noah Nasiali Kadima is also very knowledgeable about agriculture. He's not an extension officer, but he has taken his time to study, to learn about agriculture. And also Betty Kibara. Yes. Yeah, I experienced her yesterday. Yes. And it was so fulfilling.
You're seeing a wealth of knowledge.
Yes, because she's everywhere. She knows everything.
My boss is listening. You come out and now, the innovation. What kind of this innovation? Because I think sometimes we just talk about innovation in agriculture. You know, what are some of the basics innovation? For example, if you look at the two farmers that we visited, what is this kind of innovation that they would be supported with?
First of all, it's irrigation systems.
Yes.
Yeah, and how to install them. Although I saw it's good.
Yes.
It's good, but it can be better. Yeah, irrigation and crop varieties tuliona mingi sana because they consider the drought resistant crops, the crop that supports this region. Yeah. So those are two things.
Very, very important. But apart from that, also there's also other things that are there. For example, improving on the feed formulation, so that you maximize. You can be able to get as much as possible in terms of feed. The other thing that I also saw that was very very important in terms of innovation is, for example, solar. You know, remember?
Yeah.
So like Uncle said, how much he's spending on solar is crazy. So innovation in terms of how can he improve because he has a lot of manure.
Yeah.
So he could improve by getting new innovation in biogas management in terms of production. And the pastor also, you know, he's now looking at getting it. And some of these things are really, really small. We think they're complex and farmers need, but it's just very small things that farmers will be able to benefit from. Something else that was also interesting in terms of innovation that I saw was just the fact that you saw how they're putting the silage bags just there.
Yes.
Probably there could be a better way, you know, a more innovative way of storing the silage so that when it's needed, anyway, yes. And another thing, they approximate the quantity that each of these cows eat. I visited a farm in Israel. Actually, the one I enjoyed is one in Australia, where when I visited this farm, all these cows had something on the head here. So when they would go to the feeding area, so each cow understands where they're supposed to feed, the place they should stand when they're feeding. It had like a detector. Yes. So it would read that this is cow number this one, and it would serve food specifically that cow normally eats.
Oh, nice.
So now
the serving of the food is electrified.
Yes, automated. Yes. It's automated.
That's so nice.
It hits there when you just detect. It says like, oh, this is cow number this. You know, people call cows them. So how you call them?
I met a cow called Anna at Kisaiji.
Oh yes. Let's use Anna. But I don't have a friend called Anna. We're not talking about that. Yeah. So this Anna, yes, it does what? Then it detects in a serve the food that is required. When it goes to the water, amount of water. So there you avoid wastage, and then you don't have to have somebody who's cleaning up throughout all the time. The other thing that I've also seen is automation in terms of which Uncle Fred did not tell us yet, but a pasteurizer, which these guys have, so that then you are controlling the whole value chain.
Yes.
Apart from just the pasteurizer, the cooling thing that this other farmer was telling us. Now just imagine if you can be able to get milk, you get the pasteurizer, you can sell whole milk, but you can also get cheese and butter straight. Yes. Imagine just having Kisaju cheese.
Yes.
Really cheese because I mean, I normally somebody ask me, "How do you get cheese?" Yeah. So you can imagine just simple innovations like that. The other thing is also just getting to understand how to improve the quality of the feed. You've talked about drip irrigation, but probably is there another option of making sure that this drip irrigation is more efficient in serving the farmers, you know? And then also the amount of, so things like soil moisture tests.
Yes.
So that you can imagine you are here, there's a soil moisture test, it tells you like, oh, you know, this, your soil is a bit dry. You press a button and...
Yes.
So it's just those kind of innovation, which again, extension officers, both private extension services as well as government extension officers can be able to support. Now, there's also another aspect that came out very strongly where extension officers will be able to support, and this was skills enhancement. You saw some of the questions that were being asked by the farmers were getting actually, and the other two ladies that who also came along with us in yesterday's visit. It was very critical, very important, because they asked them, where can I be trained? Where can I be trained on some of this knowledge? You know, because some of the knowledge that you've got is through experience. You know, so, and yesterday there was a very interesting question that our very good friend and mentor said that if you can document this knowledge that you have, then automatically then it can be able to help other farmers.
Yes.
But I always say, and I hope my producer will not mute me, farming is like marriage. It's not for everyone.
If marriage is not for everyone.
Farming is like marriage. It's not for everyone. Why I'm saying that is because not everybody is meant to do some things. Some things have to come with things like passion, understanding how to solve real-time problems. Farming is real-time problems. You reach there, you find pipe has busted, you have to fix. You go there, you find that the cow is not well, you fix it. You go there, you get something is happening, you fix it. You go to the market, there are no buyers, you fix it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to have so many skills that are needed out there. So those who are watching us, we're discussing things about basically why you need extension services, and we're doing this in comparison with some of the farm visits that we've done this past week. And very interestingly, some of these farmers, we've actually got them courtesy of our farmers media, them liking and following our content and screaming for help, and we run there and just get to see where can we help directly, where can we be able to partner with somebody to be able to support and train these farmers. This is a Farmers Breakfast Show. We are taking a short break, but when we come back, we still have 6 more things, reasons why you need extension services.
To have healthy cows that produce well, you need to feed them with enough energy from fodder crops, protein from supplements like dairy meal and legging products, such as Kaliani, along with minerals, vitamins, and water. For a healthy cow weighing 380 kilograms, it will need to eat 1 bale of hay a day, which is the same as 20 kilograms of fresh fodder. If you are growing your own fodder, you'll need about 1 acre per year to feed 1 cow, 1 heifer, and a calf. Good fodder grasses include disease-resistant Napier grass, Bracharia, and panicum grasses. If you don't have enough land to feed your cows, then you'll need to buy extra fodder from other places. Remember to always have clean water available to your cows. If you want your cows to produce plenty of good milk, make sure they are always well fed. Smart farmers know savings are important. They can help you through hard times, like when you have poor yields, or help when buying inputs in the new season, paying your labor, or if you want to start planting a crop you have not grown before. Work out how much you can afford to save each month and stick to it. If you can make extra money, add it to your savings. Say for example you need 20,000 shillings for the next planting season. Plan to save 5,000 shillings each month for 4 months. Think about where you will keep the money that you are saving. Bank is a good option. Your money will be safe. And if you keep it there for long, you can make interest. Remember, some bank accounts you have to pay for. So try to find one that's free. Keeping your money on your mobile phone is also good.
Hey, this is Madam Director. Welcome back to Farmers Breakfast Show right here from County 034. We are discussing how you and why it is important for you as a smallholder farmer to actually get extension services to support to get a support base for your knowledge, the basic things for your knowledge. We're not talking about how to grow tomatoes. Those ones we can learn. We can get Google and do and all that. We can use. My good friend here likes using something called ChatGPT. You can get that information and that knowledge. But what we're looking for from extension officers is specific guidance. And we want to jump into one that is very important, which we want to highlight. And this is basically problem solving. So, Stephanie, what does problem solving, how does problem solving then help farmers? How do they get this information?
We're talking about extension officers.
Yes,
so
yes.
How they get the information from extension officers?
Yeah, exactly, yes.
Farmers face a lot of challenges. First, from inception, from just the beginning. When you have a plan, it might not go right.
Yes.
That's why we need to, if you are a dairy farmer, you need the vet's number. If you are doing crops, you need whoever is supposed to be guiding you through the process.
Yes.
So extension officers offers these skills to help you achieve the goals that you have set and to help you step by step on where you are, because they know they will be able to know
to guide you
yes. through soil testing,
yes.
The crop variety that you need to plant at that particular place,
yes.
The host crops
yes.
that you need to plant,
yes.
how to manage pests and diseases on your crops. So
this problem solving, which I think is very interesting, because I've got quite a number of friends who have been helping me in some of this knowledge. Let me ask you, Stephanie, what is this problem solving skills? What is? I'll give you an example of a problem solving skill, because somebody would say probably how to grow crops is problem solving. Me, I don't see there's anything wrong. I mean, I don't know, actually it's strong. That way, what are some of these problems that farmers need to learn how to solve?
First of all, knowing the weather patterns of a certain region, getting to know the drought-resistant crops if you are in an arid and semi-arid place, getting to know your soil. That one you have to stress on, because that's the basis of everything. So those are the problems that farmers face, and also the season. The seasons and access to markets.
Very important. And other things would be, as we said earlier, things like weather. And weather is not knowing whether it's raining or not. It's deeper. And that brings us to the time that we discuss what is very interesting is weather patterns. What is the weather? So this is weather, and the information here is shared with you.
Yes, we're sharing with them.
Courtesy of so yes, Obisamani, tunakuletea courtesy. We are bringing this information courtesy of Kenya Meteorological Department. You remember a long time we used to have some guy who used to put clouds on the screen and put. Anyway, it's gone and it's digital now. We are sharing some of the weather patterns that is happening, and apart from just sharing this weather, what we're asking ourselves is then what can you do with the weather that is available? So let us look at some of the regions that we'll start off with. Let us go to start off with Kitui. Kitui, it is highs of 28 and lows of 16. Kisii, lows of 15 and highs of 25. Kericho is hot today. Hey, lows of 13, highs of 23. Narok, coming into Narok, close to the same kind of weather that we're experiencing across. So this is weather that is very relatively good for any farming activity, whether you're spraying, but make sure you're spraying early enough. Protect yourself, have the masks ready. The other thing that you also do is that we are seeing Kericho will have some rains and sun intervals. I mean, the weather in Kericho is just nice. You're not judging. Yes, so this is activities that you can be able to do, weeding and all that. Coming into Rift Valley, we are seeing Kitale. Kitale is highs of 25 and lows of 13. Fantastic weather. So we jump from Kitale, we go all the way to Kakamega. Kakamega is highs of 28 and lows of 16. Really quite hot weather. Kakamega at that time can really be hot, but it's humid because we're experiencing some rains. So we move there and we get into northern parts of the country. We see Lodwar. Lodwar is just a totally different area. Lodwar is highs of 36. You know 36.
But they're burning.
It will really burn it. So there are very few activities you can do. There are very few activities you can do when the temperature is at 36, my friend.
You're making me laugh because of the way you're laughing.
Very few activities you can do. Even on your farm, there are very few activities that you can do when the weather is at 36. If the weather is 36, stay in the house. And open all the and stay far from each other.
And then you find that they're staying in the
So if the weather is at highs of 36 and lows of 25, do not leave your house. Unless you wake up very early in the morning, and I've seen farmers in the areas like Lamu when the weather is too high, they do the watering at night. Because you cannot stand in the sun water. The evaporation rate will be so high. So again, from Lodwar, let us go to Garissa, highs of 33, relatively very hot weather today in Garissa, and lows of 23. Mandera, the same, 35 degrees. Hey, where? Those are two suns. And lows of 25. We see Wajir at 32 degrees, highs of 32 and lows of 23. Coming down to the coast, we see Lamu, highs of 30, lows of 23 temperature, really hot. Voi, the same, 30 highs and lows of 20. Mombasa, Lamu 29, 24. Looking at relatively same weather, activities, very limited activities that you can do when the weather is like that. Coming up into the eastern parts of the country, that is Makindu, looking at Kitui, almost same weather, highs of 29, lows of 13. And then we get into actually one of my favorite counties to have ever visited and enjoyed being part of the farming activities there in Marsabit. Highs of 24, very good weather, lows of 15, fantastic weather for anything that you're doing in the farm. Our neighboring counties, also near to that. This friend of ours will attack us if we don't mention Kisii and Kisii is at highs of 25 and lows of 15. Very interesting weather patterns, courtesy of Kenya Meteorological Department. Yes, I'm being reminded. Yes, Nairobi. Yes, rain. The other day I left here. My car was dusty. My shoes were dusty from walking the farm. I drive into Westlands and it is raining.
Yes.
I just parked somewhere, brushed my shoes so that people don't see like I'm an alien. So it's raining. We're expecting some rains. Nyeri, rainy, fantastic weather always in Nyeri for almost all crops except tomatoes. Rift Valley is staying there. Nakuru, highs of 26, lows of 14, and Eldoret is always rainy, nice weather, cool weather. They're not in a hurry. Again, nimesikia walikuwa na maandamano ya school fees, your scholarship?
Yeah, was in Gisho, yeah.
I mean, these leaders seem to just be decent.
But I like the boldness of that lady.
Yes. I mean, and then some people who are saying that she's rude.
No, she wasn't rude. She was calling out.
I mean, as a leader, just do the right thing. It's very painful. I remember Uncle said yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
When you do something right, you not get people like that calling you out.
Mm-hmm.
You not hear, and that's someone's livelihood.
You will not even be watching your back when you're walking.
You don't you see, Uncle said you don't even have a watchman.
Yes, and it's a very big farm.
Yes.
We walked for 6 kilometers.
Imagine.
Just to cover the whole farm.
And that's on a weekday.
On a weekday, yeah.
Yes. So I mean, as a leader, just do the right thing. Just do the right thing. Yeah. Now, very interesting question that we also get in here. Many more, which is also showcasing why this information is important. There's a question from our very good friend called can apples do well in Western Kenya, especially Kakamega? Yes. And Kamadi, I will connect you with Keto Mbugu apples. What we just need to do, we need to do a soil texture test, which I'll be sharing with you, or later on in terms of how do you do this soil texture test, because now you're growing a crop. We need to understand what is the soil water and nutrient holding capacity of this. Apples only require a very big hole, just a simple hole that's now some manure, but only gets proper seedlings from Ket or apples and Mbugu farm in essence. So now something that is very, very interesting when you look at now getting to understand even weather patterns. Farmers, very few farmers even look at weather.
Yeah.
We look at not even weather. Few farmers think about climate. So we don't even think, it's very cold, you're wearing a jacket, and today I'll tell you guys about why I'm wearing this today. It's very cold, you're buying tomato seeds. I don't even understand, but it is in the extension I'm gonna. Let me ask you something, Stephanie. Why do you think there is very little extension services? And yet the government is saying that they are interested in agriculture.
They are extension officers, they're there. I think the problem with our farmers, they don't want to invest. Because when you want this extension officer to come to your farm, you have to invest in them. Yeah.
Interesting. So what does that investment look like? How much should that? I'm not saying how much, I'm saying Ezekiel here is looking at us, he might decide to not to support. How much do you think extension officers should pay? For example, the farm outside here. How much should
the farmers should pay for extension services?
Yes.
Farms are in different sizes. No. We have different sizes of farms, and each farmer, they have different varieties of different needs that they want to be met. So just to make it simple, extension officers should do a review of the farm first. Yeah, and then now they quote their prices. But then when a farmer is planning on their farms, they should put that into consideration.
Fantastic. And that's exactly what I was actually hoping for you to say. That is a service that farmers don't put as their cost of production.
Yeah.
Farmers want information, but they don't want structured, personalized information. Therefore, kuna mali nakata. Kuna mali system inakata. So as a farmer, we get to understand what are these costs that are there. I think one of the shows that I had the other day, I was talking about the difference between CAPEX, capital expenses, and operational expenses. One of your operational expenses should be extension services.
Yeah.
As much as yes, they're supposed to county extension officers are supposed to give us information free. If you facilitate them, you're the one who knows what you want. Just like mtoto amesoma, then you realize your kid needs tuition. Then you say no. Mwalimu achange vile anafundisha. I mean, for him.
But before we continue, have you ever visited Lodwar Mandera? Any farm in Lodwar Mandera?
Yes.
Would you tell us how they are doing? Because
fantastic. You know, in 2019 we had a campaign called Supporting Farmers. You know, and this was a very interesting campaign. I wish you should ask me a question earlier. I would have shared very nice videos. In Lodwar, we tested some of the sweetest watermelons I have ever tested. We tested some of the best kunde, cowpeas, vegetables that we actually sow. Why? Because the weather allows them to be able to do it. It's really hot, so when you put water, germination is faster. When you put water and needed nutrients, automatically it goes high. So it's very important for you as a farmer, especially in those areas, to make sure you have water. Their soil, since it is hot, their soil is already hot. So if you give water, let me tell you, the dormancy levels of seeds is very low.
And what are their sources of water?
Boreholes. Most of them is boreholes. They are already available. We saw quite a number of greenhouses there already. There are quite a number of projects that are running there. I know some of my friends are actually supporting, like the Kenya Water Trust Fund. They are supporting some of these farmers in very good projects. And even the yield is always high. Even in Garissa, the farming is going on very well. One of the things that we just want to say is that the school gardens play a very important role. Yeah, because you see, for example, each school has like 3 acres or 4 acres. Imagine if you can grow food on 3 acres or 4 acres. Automatically it reduces the danger of hunger and stuff like that. So those who are watching us, again, this is a Farmer's Breakfast Show. We are discussing reasons why, practical reasons, not the ones that you go there and then you say, yes, I need this information. We're asking, what is these specific reasons you need extension services? And there's one that is very obvious that we'll talk about. It's called market access. We'll talk about it towards the end. But now let's jump into one that is very, very critical in terms of where we are right now, Stephanie. Climate resilience, climate change. We have climate smart agriculture. We're hearing of all this information that are out there. What do you think is important for farmers to get extension services, and especially based on climate smart agriculture? What are some of these things that farmers should probably get?
First of all, crop diversification, matters agroforestry.
Just move closer to the mic a bit.
Thank you, Miss Producer or Director. Crop diversification, there is agroforestry, and the other week we learned about silvopasture. We are learning terms. This is where we connect, learn and grow. Yeah, so irrigation systems, those are some of the stuff.
Yeah, very important. And why is it important to get this information, Stephanie? Because you see, then a farmer will have too much information, or how can then a farmer, once they get this information, what do they do about with it?
Oh, they can adapt to the changing climatic conditions. Yeah, it will enable them to learn even more, to improve their knowledge. And once you get that knowledge, it might not be once, twice, or thrice. You have to learn continuously, because also climatic conditions, they vary, they change.
Very important. I think it's very critical for you as a farmer to be able to understand how do you get this information, because growing tomatoes will never change. The techniques of growing tomatoes will never change. However, how you manage these tomatoes, how you manage your farm will change based on climate conditions. For example, I know that somebody was telling me that in Cumberland, the month of August is called Manyanya, as in the month is called 8. The same tomato on top of another tomato. 8. But it's because everybody has tomatoes. So then you should never have tomatoes in August. And you've seen that. Farmers. Remember the uncle was saying yesterday, he harvested 1.5 tons of tomatoes. He
went to the market and there was no.
It's like you should just have stayed at home. Because see, even if he fed the cows, he had already fed the cows too much. So some of those challenges, you need to know when do you need to plant. So the planting itself is not a challenge. You need to know when do you have to plant. When will you harvest?
Yes.
How many other farmers will be harvesting at the same time?
That's why you need to have that plan.
Yes.
And also, I think for market access, you have to know the brokers, the stakeholders in the market.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I want to navigate vizuri. Even you last time you said you were selling watermelon.
Yes.
You went to the market and one was going for how much?
We had agreed with the broker. I don't know, 45 more per kilo. Let me tell you, hey, this guy just told me there's a watermelon that have come from Uganda. And he just told me, we'll sell to you we'll buy at 17 shillings.
And so you ulikuwa umefanya math, you had factored in the profits you're going to make, what you're going to return to the farm.
14 tons of watermelon times 45 bob.
Anyway, farming is you have to fail. Even these big farmers, I just knew they failed, but they were resilient.
Exactly. So that's why you as a farmer, we want to make sure that you connect, learn, and grow with some of the experts in the industry, getting to understand how and when to do it right. Yeah. So as we discuss this, something that is also coming out very clearly, especially for this, the importance of extension services. But now, women play a very important role, and I know yesterday the evening drive host team talked in quite detailed giving out information about the importance of women and how they are standing out, and stuff like that. How does extension drive services then support farmers? How do we make sure that the women farmers are being supported by extension services?
Providing them with the information, the basic trainings, so that they can also improve on their resources, and they can also get this information so that they can be more inclined with the rest in taking part of these agricultural activities.
Yes.
Yeah,
very impressed, because you see, once the extension officers are there, then it means that there's a lot of knowledge, a lot of data that they're collecting, getting to understand who are these women farmers, who are these women in agriculture, who are these women playing such significant roles in that value chain, because at the end of the day, it's a value chain that we are discussing.
And does it mean that, because I've seen that we've been talking about extension officers, I know the main topic is about how extension officers come into play in agriculture, but they are not the only ones we can get this information from. People who have been in agriculture for a long time, people who have put it upon themselves to study, because you can just get books online. If you are social media savvy, you can watch us on a farmers media, and you get that information. You go tell different women, different farmers, this page, they offer quality content on agriculture. So that's also a point we should put across. But for the professional, if you want professional guidance, you have to contact a qualified extension officer.
And one that is not, one that is reliable, one that is credible, and most importantly, one that is not biased towards a certain product or service.
And something interesting, for the past 2 months, I've learned that people in agriculture, really, most of them don't have a background in agricultural education.
Why do you think the reason?
Well, okay. Agriculture, like you said, sasa nimepata jibu yake tu ulisema, agriculture is not for everybody.
Exactly.
You have to cultivate that passion.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally. I don't know if producer come out, we end the show there. Anyway, a very interesting time that we're actually discussing this, and one of the things that we want to also see and understand is, what are some of these trends? You see, when you talk to extension officers, they will give you and tell you this is what is happening. I've got a lot of information from extension officers, and some of the things that we're actually discussing now. We also have to understand what are some of the trends. Some of what are these trends that are in agriculture, and I know you can see my screen here. So I'd like you just to share some of just by going through names of each of them. What are some of these trends that we should be aware of?
Okay, and awareness to circular agriculture.
Remember we talked about that yesterday with the host that we had, the guest that we had.
Oh yeah.
The circular economy in agriculture. From poultry, what does the manure from the chicken? How does it help the fish? How does the water that from the fish that has high ammonia help the crops? How does the crop management, in terms of farm management, support and reduce the carbon emissions in a circular economy? And you will not get that from an agronomist selling chemicals or fertilizers, unless this it's somebody who has put that as an effort for them themselves to get it and do it right. Another thing is also things like minimizing tillage.
Yeah.
Using a tractor is not bad. It is very nice, but the frequency with which you use it. So I normally say everything is beneficial. No, everything is important, but not everything is
beneficial. Yeah.
So even if you're using a tractor, we're not saying no tillage. We're just looking at
minimizing. Yeah.
Because the biodiversity that is out there, for example, the insects, the pests that are in the soil that are useful, the bacteria. When you keep on plowing your farm, it just keeps on getting messed up. So it's very important for you as a farmer to get to understand why is it important for you to do some things and why is it not, why you should not even do some things. What about what is the other thing that probably training in detail that you can get from experts?
When and how to use your fertilizers. If you're an organic farmer, they can tell you, like the other week an agronomist was here, Ezekiel. He was telling us that there are some, what is it called? I've forgotten the scientific name, but in my French, it's called akecha. Yes, that one. You squash it, you mix with water, then you put ginger and garlic, then you spray on your plants for pest control. Yeah. So for organic, those are the information that extension officers should give. Maybe somebody wanting to venture in organic farming, and when you are doing this normal one that everyone is doing, the type of fertilizers you should be using on your farm, the type of manure, how to make your compost
healthy for use.
Yeah, healthy for use. Where to set the nursery, how to raise your nursery beds, what type of irrigation you should be using on certain crops. Yeah, those are some kinds of the information that will be very vital for you to succeed in your farming venture.
Exactly, and very critical, because if then you don't have this information, it means that you're failing, or you start to fail. Yeah, and also something else that probably, as you mentioned, that we are also in the process of producing a foliar fertilizer, an organic foliar fertilizer that we are hoping to be launching in the next few weeks, because we have seen the need for having this product out there, and it's supporting farmers and making sure that farmers are getting some of this information in the right way possible. So you as an extension officer, we know that there's a role that you have to play to support farmers. So let us know how best we can be able to make sure that this is a success story. But also, most importantly, getting to support farmers is not an easy thing. So be patient with us. Avail yourself sometimes. I want to highlight someone here. I want to highlight someone who has done a lot of work.
Okay, before you highlight that person, there's this product that we have. It's called Garden. It's multi-purpose. And elephant pests.
Elephant repellent.
Are they pests? What are they to the farms?
Yes, they're pests. They're pests.
Yes. They're pests. So if you have that issue with conflict with elephants, if they're raiding your farms, and you can also use it. Actually, we used it on our farm here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's multi-purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
It serves also as a foliar fertilizer. It also serves as an elephant repellent, because elephants attack farms, and the moment they attack farms, my friend, you will harvest nothing. What are they when we think about it in a different way? Yeah, so I want to highlight two people here who have also commented. Kelvin Care, who has been a guest, has been our friend here at Farmers Media for quite a long time, and as for what he's saying, he's actually saying that he's following keenly on these reflections about the visits that we had. But it was like a master's degree taken in a day from the two visits and the company of the team. Lots of lessons for young people. Yeah. Very interesting here that we're getting. So before we highlight this other very good farmer, and also somebody who brings out this information to smallholder farmers, let us look at two last things. I know time is going against us, so let's look at two things. And we've mentioned about women empowerment and stuff like that. But also, there's an aspect that actually we talk about three things. One is social networks. The other one is food security, and then we'll talk about market access and the importance of of that. So when it comes to social networks, farming is a community-based activity. Like community-based activities, things. Farming is communal. You go to the neighbor to borrow a djembe. You go to the neighbor to borrow a panga. You go to you get to know what the neighbor is doing. So how does having extension officers within a certain region help build these social networks?
Extension officers, they will come in handy when I'm passionate about farming, you're passionate about farming. When we are both passionate, we will look for this extension officer and maybe form a workshop kind of and invite other youth or other people who are passionate about agriculture. In that, we will share our experiences. If you've tried or if you want to try, you will share what I want to do. Then the extension officers will help you with the knowledge. Even some of them always come with demonstrations. They will demonstrate for you what you're supposed to be doing. Those workshops, conferences, even if you hear about a conference, networking is just networking. You can just unatafuta tu njia ya kufika hapo.
I get to learn so much information.
And it's the social networks that can make you have that knowledge of what you want to do, how you want to do it, the steps you need to take. Like now, soil testing, that one I didn't know. I knew it when I arrived at a farmer's on the first show I watched you. Actually watched you before I came. So, and you are talking so much about soil testing, and also in the Africa Regenerative Conference. They were just focusing on the soil. Without good soils, you won't get good plants, which means food will also not be there. The food crisis will just continue.
And also the other aspect of the mentioning, when you have a social network, for example, say around Kitengela we have 1,000 farmers. Let's even be very realistic and say let's have 100 farmers. And of each of these farmers, let's assume 20 are doing onions, 20 tomatoes and all that. We can lock a price even the buyers, because what happens is that the buyers will know, if I go to any other farmer, they'll still sell to me at this price. So they will not manipulate you. The other thing is also the aspect of sharing of resources, in terms of if you have 20 farmers, instead of you employing an agronomist, you can all employ one agronomist. So you can still visit your farms, support you, train you, succeed. But also markets. When it comes to markets, it's easier to do it as a community, as a group of farmers. Like, yes, we'll be able to supply tomatoes. I will do on Monday, another on Tuesday and Thursday. Buyer, so that you can be able to hold. I just did a like translation. To hold.
We don't mind. We are African farmers.
So the other thing is definitely it comes to improving productivity as a way of enhancing agricultural practices, making sure the extension services are actually increasing in food production, helping farmers to increase food production, reduce food insecurity, but basically things like how to store your harvest, post-harvest management skills and things like that. But also, which is very critical, a healthy body, healthy food, healthy body. Meaning things like malnutrition, things like challenges in nutrition and stuff like that will be something of the past, because then we are being taught the importance of each household to have a kitchen garden for vegetables. So that you can get iron, you can get things like that from the farm. The other way is how to prevent, how to use safe use of pesticides. So that then when you're spraying, even if you sell your product to the neighbor, it is safe and healthy.
And I have a question for you in that. Let's take a scenario. I'm living on the 5th floor of a building in an urban area. I don't have land, but I'm very passionate about agriculture. I don't have land anywhere. That's the only place I am. But I want to venture into farming. What can I do? How can I go about it?
You can have a bucket, depending on the size of your family.
But what if I don't have a balcony?
You can actually do it in your house. You can actually do it in your house. Hey, but hakuna ni na balcony.
Ama ni kidogo, ama hakuna jua. So like Fedobachi yesterday said, you can have a bucket in your house. Unapanda sukuma hapo. Asubuhi ukitoka unatoka nayo unaweka hapo nje. Usiku.
Yes, it's very possible.
But it's
let me tell you, if you come to my house, there's a small kitchen garden. Yes.
We should visit your house as the next farm.
You visit my farm. Yes, you're always welcome. Yes. Because it's very important and I've seen neighbors have also started seeing, and they're actually also doing it. You have the neighbors who don't talk to you, but they look at you when you're not around. They come and look at the compound, and it's very nice because then they get to learn about these things. You know, the other thing is also getting to understand how important is it to do things as a cooperative. It's only extension officers that can help build cooperative farmer cooperatives. There's no way farmers can just come and register a cooperative. You need an agronomist, you need a livestock, somebody from the livestock department, then a cooperative department, and then I'll batch and come up with that solution. So two more things that we want to talk about. I hope we are allowed to pass to exceed our time a bit. Financial literacy is very important because one of the things about financial literacy, as we were discussing and we saw yesterday, is the fact that then you can do your mathematics right.
Yeah.
You know, you can know how much, because these extension officers already have extensive knowledge. They have already visited 10 of these farmers. So by the time they're coming to you, you don't have to go and learn in 10 ways.
Yeah.
You can actually learn in one way. Like, this is how you calculate your cost. This is how you calculate your profit and loss. And for now, if you want further reference, go and visit this farmer who is a neighbor there. You see, farmers rarely would you know each other where you are, but extension officer will bring, as we've seen, the social networks aspect. Something also very important is market access.
Yeah.
That is one of the challenges that smallholder farmers face in terms of market access, in terms of standardization, quality of the products, things like value addition, how to sell, where to sell. Because some of these buyers also, they contact the seed companies and say, but then you have a farmer who is growing this.
Yeah.
So if you already have this extension officers, they'll be able to tell you what is happening. And also apart from that, other opportunities might come in. For example, the extension officers might be asked, do you know a farmer who's growing watermelon? Would like to work with them in a certain project. Because even myself, I've got that kind of support as well.
And anyone who does value addition, micro-processing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very, very important for you as a farmer to understand what this is important for you. Any last words?
So we've come to the end of the discussion.
Before we come to the end.
Okay.
I want to highlight a fellow farmer who is doing an amazing job. This is Marianne Kipiegon. She's actually even commented and said good morning, and she's following the discussion. Marianne does a lot of vegetables. Does vegetables, organic vegetables as well. Very interesting. We've been seeing how she's doing this work and all that, and really, really important for you as a smallholder farmer to learn how to do some of these things. We also have some comments there that we'd like to share. Yes, we see Mwindi Kawinzi saying educative sessions for agro dealers, which is very important for us, and that is why we pride ourselves in making sure that we have this as a success for you as a smallholder farmers. Yes, so now, what is this thing? Now, let me come back to you and ask you, what is this one thing that you would like to achieve or do from the visits that we went to?
I was encouraged, I was inspired, it was a motivation, and I am very passionate about agriculture. And I've always been telling myself, from where I live, I have it's a small area, but I've always been telling myself, wacha kwanza nifanye kazi kidogo, nikipata pesa nitaenda yunue shamba kubwa. But from the farm visits we've had, like just the point of starting, just have that plan though, but just start. The rest of the things will come into play along the way, and also look for that knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah, so that even hata kama ni kufail, you don't fail so much.
Sometimes you fall down.
Don't just fall.
Even make more slow. But when you trip, you go as you trip, and do. Very important.
And with failure also comes that learning. Yeah, experience.
In fact, for me, I call it more of learning than failure. Because you've learned something. However, we don't want you to have to go through all the learnings that farmers have to go through. Just make sure you follow Farmers Media on Facebook, or Farmers at Farmers on Instagram, TikTok, as well as our YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed, I don't even know what you're waiting for. Make sure you subscribe to our channel to get to understand much more about what we do, what we to make you succeed. And as we wind up, Stephanie, how can you say is the role of then extension officers in making agriculture attractive to the youth?
The information that they give.
Some of those extension officers are very old.
Okay, they might be old, but they still have the information that we want. Yeah. So the information that they give is very vital.
Actually, I just remember that finish.
Okay.
Remember extension officer and me telling her you need to go to TikTok.
She won't know about TikTok. When will she go to TikTok? But that's where now they say that apart from Google, it's now TikTok that has all the information that you may be needing.
That's more than just information. Anyway.
But algorithm yako pia ina matter.
Oh,
what do you always go to?
Oh, so that's because where you're saying. But it's very important also to the role of extension officers in making agriculture attractive, which is something critical that we would like to make sure that we are perfecting. Yes, and that brings us to the end of today's show, the breakfast show. Again, another Friday coming in, and we would love to wish you to have a brilliant weekend. We know we have our fantastic show host coming in later on, the mid-morning coming in at 11 o'clock, and then the evening farm drive coming in at 3 p.m. And very interesting content that we are sharing with you. We would like you to also give us feedback about the content that we have that we are sharing with you. What would you like to see more? What would you like us to change? Even if we hear somebody talking about red share, we don't have a problem. Just get to understand how to do it right. We'd love to hear back from you. We'll be having some competitions that we'll be sharing with you from starting Monday. But I would like to leave you with the proverb of the day. So the proverb of the day says, when the roots are deep, there is no reason to fear the wind. I repeat that again. When the roots are deep, there is no reason to fear the wind. And yet you so if you have immersed yourself and got an understanding and enough knowledge about your farming activities, then chances are any challenge that comes will be a learning experience. You will be able to know how to maneuver. You might not know how to solve it, but you might know how to maneuver it. This has been a fantastic day. Thank you very much, Stephanie. I know I ambushed you for joining us, but again, sharing that experience of visiting the different farmers highlights what we should be able to do even much more and information. So you as a farmer, thank you for having stayed tuned in with us here. Follow the discussion today. Have a brilliant weekend from here, the Breakfast Show.
And also don't forget to follow us on our social media handles and subscribe to our YouTube channel at A Farmers Media.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And those also who have made this possible. From our director, the train behind the screens, we will bring them on studio. In fact, I'll be sharing their images today. And our Madam Producer also making sure that this is a success. Have a brilliant one.
Let's go background. They did in studio na pata calls mingi. Tukisiko studio hata kuna mtu ananikumbuka. Kwani wananiona?
Kuna kile kuongea ajira bado hakijamaliza kustream.
Oh, bado hujamaliza kwani sasa hivi.